Hi, BookTube. It's Lori, and I am here unexpectedly today to film a video about what's on my TBR for Contemporaryathon. It is Monday, September 23rd, which is the first day of Contemporaryathon. It also happens to be my birthday. So I was not planning to participate in Contemporaryathon. I had a lot going on this month and I hadn't been feeling well, and I thought, I think I'll just skip this readathon. And then this morning I woke up and got ready for work, as I often do, and saw some YouTube videos, BookTube videos, with TBR lists for Contemporaryathon, and I had this FOMO moment, which, if you don't know what that is, it's fear of missing out, and thought, oh gosh, I wouldn't have to pick 7 books or even 5 books. I could just pick a couple and play around and see what happens. What do I have to lose? I was probably going to read them anyway. So I picked a couple of books that have really been on my mind lately, one of which I actually recently downloaded on ebook, and those books fulfill a lot of the challenges or prompts for Contemporaryathon. So I feel like this is something I really want to do. Now, Contemporaryathon, if you're not familiar, is a readathon that is hosted by a number of people. The first is Natasha at My Reading is Odd, which is the name of her BookTube channel. We also have Chelsea at Chelsea Darling Reads. We have Mel at Mel to the Any, and we have Julie at Pages and Pens. I think it's Julie. I will link everybody's channels below, along with the prompts for, or challenges for, Contemporaryathon. Now, the premise of Contemporaryathon is that you read a contemporary novel, and so there's just not a whole lot of other strings attached to that. And of course, no readathons have police that come by to make sure that you're reading what you said you would, or that you're reading a contemporary, but it is a way to maybe look at a genre that you don't typically read, or to read something in that genre that's been kind of on your mind lately, which is what is true for me. So I'm going to read you the challenges, and then I'm going to show you what I've decided to read for this Contemporaryathon. I've picked 3 books that I think will serve me well and will cover many of these challenges. All right, so here they go. And again, I'll put these in the description box below, but here are the challenges 1 through 7. Number 1, read a 2019 release. Pretty easy. Number 2, read a contemporary with yellow on the cover. Number 3, read a diverse contemporary, which they describe as something outside of your own experience. Pretty easy. Number 4, read a contemporary with an illustrated cover. Number 5, read a dark, hard-hitting contemporary. 6, read a contemporary with plants on the cover. 7, a contemporary beloved by a member of the book community, and shout out that creator. So I have a couple of choices here that I'm excited to show you, and I'm excited to get to read. And again, some of these were already on my purview, so I was planning on reading them anyway, and this just gave me a great excuse. So the first one is Recursion. Can you see that? By Blake Crouch. Gosh, this time of day. There we go. Recursion by Blake Crouch. I actually had just downloaded this recently on ebook from Overdrive. When I decided to do that, I was already reading something else from my summer TBR, and I just didn't get done with it as soon as I had hoped, and so I haven't read it. I haven't even started it. And I only have 5 days left to finish it before it has to go back to the library. So my plan is I've requested the hard copy from one of the branches that's not closest to me. I have this ebook for 5 more days, and I have access to the audiobook as well. So I can read it in any one of those 3 ways. You wonder, why did you have to have it 3 different ways? Just because then I can read it wherever I am, in whatever way I feel like. This book follows a number of people who are involved in a kind of national epidemic that is called false memory syndrome, where people start to have memories of events that never really actually happened to them. I think it's a bit of a science fiction-y kind of plot, and Blake Crouch is really an author that I want to read more of. I've only read one of his books, and it was one of the Wayward Pines series, the first one in that series, and I really liked it. So this one's gotten great buzz. My daughter liked it a lot. My son just recently bought it, so I want to take a look at that. So that fulfills the prompt of reading a 2019 release and reading a book with orange on the cover. So the first two prompts or challenges are covered by that book. The next book I want to take a look at is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I recently acquired this book at a book signing at a local bookstore near me, and it's been a book that has gotten a lot of buzz. My daughter also read this one, liked it a lot. This follows the challenge of reading a diverse read and reading a book with a illustrated cover and reading a hard-hitting or dark topic novel. So this covers 3 challenges. And you know from watching previous videos that this is one that I wanted to get to fairly soon. This follows a young girl whose name is Star Carter, and she lives in a poor Black neighborhood but attends a fancy prep school, and there's a shooting, and she's a witness to the shooting, and she's caught in the aftermath and turmoil of that event. So this is definitely difficult subject matter, but I have heard rave reviews. This could also cover the challenge of read something that a booktuber recommended highly, which was the last challenge, but I know there are several, but I can't remember which one in particular, so I'll just let that challenge be. But it is highly hyped, and a lot of my friends love it, and it won an honor book status with the American Library Association, and it was a Coretta Scott King Award honoree. So definitely a great recommendation from those 2 people anyway. So I guess that covers that challenge. It's a shout out if you think about them online. Anyway, I really am excited to take a look at this, and I can also listen to this on Scribd. It is available on audiobook on Scribd. So I like to do a combination of reading and listening, because sometimes I want to listen while I'm cooking or getting ready for work, as I did this morning with the BookTube videos. And the last one, look, my nails are in such bad shape. This really was an impromptu last-minute video. The last one is In the Woods by Tana French. This one follows the prompt of reading a book that has a plant on the cover. It has tree roots, and it has been on my currently reading list since 2014. And I know this because I found a receipt in here from my physical therapist in December of 2014. So clearly I was using this then. I have read this much of this book. This is a trip I took to, it looks like DC in 2014, I'm sure. Yep, December 2014. So I was reading it then, but I just never finished it. And it wasn't because I didn't like it. I just put it down probably in favor of something else and never picked it back up all these years later. It's crazy. The reason this is now currently on my list is because 1, Tana French is an author I said I wanted to read more of. 2, they're making a Dublin Murder Squad series that is going to premiere on Starz in November. I saw the preview for it yesterday when I was at the movie, watching Downton Abbey. And this, I would like to read at least one of these books in this series before watching the series on Starz. And 3, I'd really like to get this off my currently reading and actually into my read list. So I may have to start again because it's been a while, but I do kind of remember the premise. This is also an Edgar Award winner, so these are great, very greatly reviewed and highly esteemed books on my list. This follows a detective named Rob Ryan, I think, yes, who as a young boy was in the woods with his friends, and they were all missing, and then I think later discovered to be murdered. And he came out of the woods and didn't really remember what had happened, and it was a local community tragedy at that time. And then fast forward to an adult who has now become a detective, and he's called to investigate the murder of a 12-year-old girl in the woods. There are some similarities, there are some connections, and so he and his sidekick Cassie Maddox begin to investigate this case. I know a lot of people love this Dublin Murder series. I know I will too. It's not that I didn't read it because I didn't love it. I just got distracted about a third of the way in. So I'd love to finish this, and I think, again, I'll start over. I do not have access to this on audiobook on Scribd. It may be an Overdrive. I'll have to look. But because it's an older title, they don't seem to have it, but they do have it, a couple of her other books that are more recent. So 3 books that fulfill 6 prompts, I think, and I feel pretty good about this. I think I could make a pretty good dent in these 3 books, and I have a good bit of work to do this week, but I also have a pretty free weekend, I think. So I do think that this is very doable for me. 3 books in a week is something I could strive to complete. And I just finished what I'm going to read of my summer TBR, so I'll share a video about that soon. Stay tuned. But for now, just know that I've slid in here on my slippers, trying to create this TBR so I can start the Contemporaryathon today and get this uploaded for you today so you can see the TBR, play along. There's some social media events at Contemporaryathon on Instagram, BookTube. There is an announcement. I'll post that below. You can learn more and listen to and meet Natasha, Julie, Mel, and Chelsea for yourself on their BookTube channels if you're not familiar with them already. And then, of course, on Instagram, you'll see other people who are participating in round 5. I participated in round 4, and I read lots of great books that week. So I feel like this week is going to be the same. Thanks for joining me. Share your Contemporaryathon TBR if you have one. Let me know if you've read any of these books or plan to read them. And as always, happy reading. Bye.